Baik, materi kita hari ini tentang
This is a 3.
neural
It's
network.
sloppily written and rendered
Bagaimana
at an
kita
extremely low
mengenal sebuah
resolution of
objek
28 by 28
dengan
pixels,
menggunakan
but your brain has
metode
no
neural
trouble
network.
recognizing it as a 3.
Ini dalam hal ini kita sedang membahas bagaimana teknik untuk mengenal angka, ya, angka 0 sampai angka 9. Jadi dikasih contoh angka 3
And I
misalnya.
want you to take a moment to appreciate how crazy it is that brains can do
Bagaimana
that.
manusia
However,
mengenal angka 3
I
sebagai
mean,
3.
this, and this are also recognizable
Dengan
as
huruf yang
3s, even though
berbeda-beda,
the
manusia
specific
bisa
values
mengenal
of each
oh
pixel
ini
is
adalah
very
angka
different
3.
from one image to the next. The
Sekarang bagaimana
particular
caranya kita
light-sensitive
membuat
cells in your
komputer
eye that are firing when
supaya
you see
mengenal
this 3
angka 3
are very
meskipun
different from the
tulisannya
ones firing when you
agak
see this
berbeda
3. But
antara orang
something
yang
in
satu
that
dengan orang
crazy
yang
smart
lain.
visual cortex of yours resolves these as representing the same idea, while at the same time recognizing other images as their own distinct ideas. But if I told you, hey, sit down and write for me a program that takes in a grid of 28 by 28 pixels.
Ya, jadi angka 3 itu, gambar angka 3 itu, gambar objek itu direpresentasikan oleh matriks yang berisi nilai-nilai pixel. Anda pasti pernah belajar image processing kan? Nah, ini nilai-nilai pixel yang memberikan informasi tentang sebuah objek di dalam kotak ini. Ini angka 3. Jadi yang putih nilai pixelnya 1 dan yang abu-abu nilai pixelnya kalau abu-abu agak putih 0,9, kalau abu-abu rendah 0,5 dan seterusnya. Ya. Jadi setiap objek itu, setiap image itu punya nilai
like
pixel.
This, and outputs a single number between 0 and 10, telling you what it thinks
Bagaimana
the
kita mau
digit is.
mengenali
Well, the
angka
task
dari
goes
0
from
sampai
comically
9?
trivial to dauntingly difficult. Unless you've been living under a rock, I think I hardly need to motivate the relevance and importance of machine learning and neural networks to
Nah,
the...
ini tekniknya machine learning. Jadi mesin itu belajar mengenal sebuah objek, ya, meskipun objek itu agak berbeda-beda bentuk dasarnya ya. Tapi mesin akan belajar untuk mengenali itu.
Present and to the future. But what I want to do here is show you what a neural network actually is, assuming no background, and to help visualize what it's doing. Not as a buzzword, but as a piece of math. My hope is just that you come away feeling like the structure itself is motivated, and to feel like you know what it means when you read or you hear about a neural network, quote-unquote, learning.
Ya, nah ini neural network ini, gambar jaringan saraf tiruan bahasa Indonesianya, jaringan saraf tiruan yang dia melakukan pengolahan terhadap objek untuk dikenali. Ya.
This video is just going to be devoted to the structure component of that, and the following one is going to tackle learning. What we're going to do is put together a neural network that can learn to recognize handwritten digits.
Perhatikan ya, jadi angka 7 diambil semua nilai pixelnya, tadi kan 28 kali 28 citranya, kalau dijajarkan begitu, ada 784 pixel di dalam gambar angka 7 ini. Ya. Nah, pixel itu semuanya dijejer gitu ya, dari pixel pertama sampai pixel terakhir, kemudian nanti di mapping ke layer berikutnya, sampai dia mengenali angka 0 sampai angka 9. Perhatikan tahapan-tahapannya.
This is a somewhat classic example for introducing the topic, and I'm happy to stick with the status quo here, because at the end of the 2 videos, I want to point you to a couple good resources.
Jadi gimana caranya kalau membaca angka 2, kenal angka 2. Baca angka 7, kenal itu angka 7. Baca angka 3, kenal sebagai angka 3.
This is where you can learn more, and where you can download the code that does this and play with it on your own computer. There are many, many variants of neural networks, and in recent years there's been sort of a boom in research towards these variants. But in these 2 introductory videos, you and I are just going to look at the simplest, plain vanilla form with no added frills. This is kind of a necessary prerequisite for understanding any of the more powerful modern variants, and trust me, it still has plenty of complexity for us to wrap our minds around. But even in this simplest form, it can learn to recognize handwritten digits,
misalnya mengenal angka 9
which is a
sebagai
pretty
9.
cool thing for a computer to be able to do. And at the same time, you'll see how it does fall short of a couple hopes that we might have for it. As the name suggests, neural networks are inspired by the brain. But let's break that down. What are the neurons and in what sense are they linked together?
Otak manusia, ya.
Right now, when I say neuron, all I want you to think about is a thing that holds a number, specifically a number between 0 and 1. It's really not more than that. For example, the network starts with a bunch of neurons corresponding to each of the 28 times 28 pixels of the input image, which is 784 neurons in total. Each one of these holds a number that represents the grayscale value of the corresponding pixel, ranging from 0 for black pixels up to 1 for white pixels. This number inside...
Ya, ini menyebutkan lagi bahwa image ini terdiri dari pixel 28 kali 28, sehingga jumlahnya 784. Jadi masing-masing titik ini atau pixel ini mempunyai nilai. Kalau putih nilainya 1, kalau hitam nilainya 0. Antara putih dan hitam ada abu-abu itu 0,0. Kalau makin ke putih di atas 0,5, makin ke hitam di bawah 0,5. Ya. Jadi cara mengenalinya pertama nilai pixelnya diambil dulu.
The neuron is called its activation. And the image you might have in mind here is
Nah, ini nanti ada activation function untuk mengidentifikasi dia nomor berapa angka yang dibaca itu. Tapi sebelum dia mengenal nomor, si mesin ini mesti dilatih dulu. Ya, dilatih, diberikan contoh gambar, kemudian diberikan jawabannya. Kayak kita melatih anak-anak, bayi ya. Ini gambar apa? Gambar gajah. Kasih tahu dulu sampai dia hafal. Ketika udah hafal, baru dikasih gambar yang baru, gambar gajah. Kita minta dia tebak, dia akan mengenal itu. Nah, itu namanya machine learning.
That each neuron is lit up when its activation is a high number. So all of these 784 neurons make up the first layer of our network.
Ini masuk 784 pixel ini masuk ke layer pertama. Ya, jadi ada beberapa layer, beberapa lapisan. Dia akan masuk ke lapisan yang pertama. Ya, nih. Kemudian,
now jumping over to the last layer, this has 10 neurons, each representing one of the digits.
Yang terakhir, layer terakhir adalah layer jawabannya, labelnya 0 sampai 9, ya. Yang merupakan jawaban dari objek yang dibaca.
The activation in these neurons, again, some number that's between 0 and 1, represents how much the system thinks that a given image corresponds with a given digit. There's also a couple layers in between called the hidden layers, which for the time being,
karena dia berproses di belakang sistem ya. Yang kita ketahui ini layer yang pertama sebagai representasi objek dan layer yang terakhir sebagai label dari objek tersebut. Nah, antara layer yang pertama sampai layer terakhir ada yang disebut dengan hidden layer.
Should just be a giant question mark for how on earth this process of recognizing digits is going to be handled. In this network, I chose 2 hidden layers, each one with 16 neurons. And
nah, ini ditetapkan pada umumnya 16 pixel di sininya. Ya, 16 titik ya, 16 titik.
Admittedly, that's kind of an arbitrary choice. To be honest, I chose 2 layers based on how I want to motivate the structure in just a moment. And 16, well, that was just a nice number to fit on the screen. In practice, there is a lot of room for experiment with a specific structure here. The way the network operates, activations in one layer determine the activations of the next layer. And of course, the heart of the network as an information process.
Ya, jadi nilai-nilai pixel ini akan di mapping ke layer hidden ini yang pertama, kemudian di mapping lagi ke sini. Baris yang kedua, baru di mapping ke output layer, ya, untuk menentukan dia angka berapa.
Processing mechanism comes down to exactly how those activations from one layer bring about activations in the next layer. It's meant to be loosely analogous to how in biological networks of neurons, some groups of neurons firing cause certain others to fire. Now, the network I'm showing here has already been trained to recognize digits, and let me show you what I mean by that. It means if you feed in an image lighting up all 784 neurons of the input layer according to the brightness of each pixel in the image, that pattern of activations causes some very specific pattern in the next layer, which causes some pattern in the one after it, which finally gives some pattern in the output layer. And the brightest neuron of that output layer is the network's choice, so to speak, for what digit this image represents.
Jadi kita mengajarkan dulu kepada sistem untuk mengenali angka-angka itu dan kemudian mendapatkan model yang digunakan untuk mengenali masing-masing angka.
To the math for how one layer influences the next or how training works.
Jadi ada dua tahap training dulu, baru nanti tahap pengujian. Ya, tahap training adalah tahap untuk mengenalkan kepada sistem angka-angka yang ditunjukkan. Jadi angka 9 tadi misalnya, itu konfigurasi jaringannya kayak apa. Angka 8 konfigurasi jaringannya kayak apa. Angka 7 konfigurasi jaringannya kayak apa. Kita membangun itu dulu. Kalau konfigurasi jaringannya sudah dapat, maka bisa digunakan untuk menguji angka yang baru dengan tulisan yang agak berbeda, dia nanti akan mengenali. Ya, sama seperti kita mengajari anak kecil, kita tunjukkan dulu objeknya, setelah dia kenal baru kita uji dengan objek yang baru.
Layered structure like this to behave intelligently. What are we expecting here? What is the best hope for what those middle layers might be doing? Well, when you or I recognize digits, we piece together various components. A 9 has a loop up top and a line on.
Nah, ini detail dari proses yang terjadi, ya. Jadi dari citra ini akan nampak nanti polanya, ya. Jadi pola itulah yang akan menentukan model jaringannya seperti apa.
An 8 also has a loop up top, but it's paired with another loop down low. A 4 basically breaks down into 3 specific lines and things like that. Now, in a perfect world, we might hope that each neuron in the second to last layer corresponds with one of these subcomponents. That anytime you feed in an image with, say, a loop up top, like a 9 or an 8, there's some specific neuron whose activation is going to be close to 1. And I don't mean this specific loop of pixels. The hope would be that any generally loopy pattern towards the top sets off this neuron. That way, going from the third layer to the last one just requires learning which combination of subcomponents corresponds to which digits. Of course, that just kicks the problem down the road, because how would you recognize these subcomponents or even learn what the right subcomponents should be? And I still haven't even talked about how one layer influences the next, but run with me on this one for a moment. Recognizing a loop can also break down into subproblems. One reasonable way to do this would be to first recognize the various little edges that make it up.
Image itu
Similarly,
bisa kita pecah lagi menjadi bentuk-bentuk yang lebih kecil. Yang ini nanti direpresentasikan di dalam hidden layer tadi. Ya.
Long line, like the kind you might see in the digits 1 or 4 or 7, well, that's really just a long edge. Or maybe you think of it as a certain pattern of several smaller edges. So maybe our hope is that each neuron in the second layer of the network corresponds with the various relevant little edges. Maybe when an image like this one comes in, it lights up all of the neurons associated with around 8 to 10 specific little edges, which in turn lights up the neurons associated with the upper loop and a long vertical line, and those light up the neuron associated with a 9. Whether or not this is what our final network actually does is another question, one that I'll come back to once we see how to train the network. But this is a hope that we might have, a sort of goal with the layered structure like this. Moreover, you can imagine how being able to detect edges and patterns like this would be really useful for other image recognition tasks. And even beyond image recognition, there are all sorts of intelligent things you might want to.
Jadi dia cerita bahwa dengan pendekatan melihat bentuk dari gambar, kita bisa mengenali ya banyak image, ya, karena masing-masing image itu terbentuk dari bentuk-bentuk
break down
garis,
into layers of abstraction. Parsing speech, for example, involves taking raw audio and picking out distinct sounds, which combine to make certain syllables, which combine to form words.
Bahkan untuk audio pun bisa dikenali dengan cara seperti itu.
Which combine to make up phrases and more abstract thoughts, etc. But getting back to how any of this actually works, picture yourself right now designing how exactly the activations in one layer might determine the activations in the next. The goal is to have some mechanism that could conceivably combine pixels into edges, or edges into patterns, or patterns into digits. And to zoom in on one very specific example, let's say the hope is for one particular neuron in the second layer to pick up on whether or not the image has an edge in this region here. The question at hand is, what parameters should the network have? What dials and knobs should you be able to tweak so that it's expressive enough to potentially capture this pattern, or any other pixel pattern, or the pattern that several edges can make a loop, and other such things? Well, what we'll do is assign a...
Ini dia sedang cerita, kita harus menemukan kombinasi dari masing-masing bentuk image ini, yang tadi dipotong-potong ya, dipotong-potong. Ketika potongannya seperti ini, bagaimana kita cara menemukannya di dalam jaringan ini, gitu ya? Bagaimana cara kita merepresentasikannya?
Weight to each one of the connections between our neuron and the neurons from the first layer. These weights are just numbers. Then take all of those active...
Nah, dia bilang bahwa nanti dihubungkan tuh antara setiap titik ini dengan titik yang ini. Ini titik ini menentukan bentuk ini maksudnya. Nah, setiap garis ini ada weight-nya, ada berat bobotnya. Ya, nanti kita kasih bobot-bobot dari 784 titik ini, bobot itu secara random aja dan menyatakan bahwa ini adalah bentuk apa ini? Bentuk garis datar ya.
From the first layer and compute their weighted sum according to these weights.
Kan? Ini dia kasih tahu A1, A2, A3 sampai A semua ini dikali dengan bobotnya.
I find it helpful to think of these weights as being organized into a little grid of their own, and I'm going to use green pixels to indicate positive weights and red pixels to indicate negative weights, where the brightness of that pixel is some loose depiction of the weight's value. Now, if we made the weights associated with almost all of the pixels 0, except for some positive weights in this region that we care about, then taking the weighted sum of all the pixel values really just amounts to adding up the values of the pixel just in the region that we care about. And if you really wanted to pick up on whether there's an edge here, what you might do is have some negative weights associated with the surrounding pixels. Then the sum is largest when those middle pixels are bright, but the surrounding pixels are darker. When you compute a weighted sum like this, you might come out with any number. But for this network, what we want is for activations to be some value between 0 and 1. So a common thing to do is to pump this weighted sum into some function that squishes the real number line into the range between 0 and 1.
Yang kita mau menentukan activation function. Activation function ini adalah untuk menetapkan nanti di layer terakhir dia masuknya ke angka berapa, dikenalinya sebagai angka berapa.
And a common function that does this is called the sigmoid function, also known as a logistic curve. Basically, very negative inputs end up close to 0, very positive inputs end up close to 1, and it just steadily increases around the input 0. So the activation of the neuron here is basically a measure of how positive the relevant weighted sum is. But maybe it's not that you want the neuron to light up when the weighted sum is bigger than 0. Maybe you only want it to be active when the sum is bigger than, say, 10. That is, you want some bias for it to be inactive. What we'll do then is just add in some other number, like negative 10, to this weighted sum before plugging it through the sigmoid squishification function. That additional number is called the bias. So the weights tell you what pixel pattern this neuron in the second layer is picking up on, and the bias tells you how high the weighted sum needs to be before the neuron starts getting meaningfully active. And that is just one neuron. Every other neuron in this layer is going to be connected to all 784 pixel neurons from the first layer, And each one of those 784 connections has its own weight associated with it. Also, each one has some bias.
Jadi kita menghubungkan setiap titik yang ada di gambar ini, 784 titik tadi, dipetakan ke layer yang pertama ini. Ya, dipetakan ke sini. Ini berarti ini ada 16 ya. Ada 16 titik, ini dipetakan ke 16. Ini 16 semua. Jadi 784 kali 16 garis ini yang menghubungkan antara titik ini dengan baris ini dengan baris ini. Untuk apa? Untuk mencari pola yang atau pola jaringan yang sesuai dengan objeknya. Kalau angka 9 nanti kita ketemu weight-nya berapa aja, biasnya berapa yang menunjukkan angka 9. Ya.
Some other number that you add on to the weighted sum before squishing it with the sigmoid. And that's a lot to think about. With this hidden layer of 16 neurons, that's a total of 784 times 16 weights, along with 16 biases. And all of that is just the connections from the first layer to the second. The connections between the other layers also have a bunch of weights and biases associated with them. All said and done, this network has almost exactly 13,000 total weights and biases.
Jadi total jaringan ini mempunyai 13.000 weight dan bias, ya. Bobot dan biasnya total ada 13.000 nih, sini semuanya. Makanya memang neural network atau machine learning itu kalau mau di running menggunakan
13,000 knobs and dials that can be tweaked and turned to make this network behave in different ways. So when we talk about learning, what that's referring to is getting the computer to find a valid setting.
Jadi yang namanya belajar atau learning adalah menemukan bobot yang benar dan bias yang benar. Berapa angka untuk masing-masing 0, 1, 2, 3, sampai 9 tadi. Ya, berapa jumlah bobotnya dan berapa jumlah biasnya dan berapa angka bobot dan angka biasnya.
For all of these many numbers so that it'll actually solve the problem at hand. One thought experiment that is at once fun and kind of horrifying is to imagine sitting down and setting all of these weights and biases by hand, purposefully tweaking the numbers.
Contoh misalnya kita membaca angka 9
so that the second layer picks up on edges, the third layer picks up on patterns, etc. I personally find this satisfying rather than just treating the network as a total black box, because when the network doesn't perform the way you anticipate, if you've built up a little bit of a relationship with what those weights and biases actually mean, you have a starting place for experimenting with how to change the structure to improve. Or when the network does work, but not for the reasons you might expect, digging into what the weights and biases are doing is a good way to challenge your assumptions and really expose the full space of possible solutions. By the way, the actual function here is a little cumbersome to write down, don't you think? So let me show you a more notationally compact way that these connections are represented. This is how you'd see it if you choose to read up more about neural networks. Organize all of the activations from one layer into a column as a vector. Then organize all of the weights as a matrix, where each row of that matrix corresponds to the connections between
A0, A1, A2, A3, A4 sampai A784 tadi. Ya. Itu kita taruh sebagai matriks dikali dengan ini nih A0 sampai AN-nya dikali dengan weight-nya. W0, W00, W01 dan sampai W0N, W00, W10 sampai WK0. Ya, jadi sejumlah garis ini.
Between one layer and a particular neuron in the next layer. What that means is that taking the weighted sum of the activations in the first layer, according to these weights, corresponds to one of the terms in the matrix.
Ini A01 ini tergantung dari hasil perhitungan ini ditambah biasnya. Ya, dia dapat angka nanti di sini.
Vector product of everything we have on the left here. By the way, so much of machine learning just comes down to having a good grasp of linear algebra. So for any of you who want a nice visual understanding for matrices and what matrix vector multiplication means, take a look at the series I did on linear algebra, especially chapter 3. Back to our expression, Instead of talking about adding the bias to each one of these values independently, we represent it by organizing all those biases into a vector and adding the entire vector to the previous matrix vector product. Then, as a final step, I'll wrap a sigmoid around the outside here. And what that's supposed to represent is that you're going to apply the sigmoid.
Cara perhitungannya, ini matriks aslinya, gambar aslinya dikalikan dengan weight, bobot tadi, ditambah dengan biasnya. Kemudian diaktifkan dengan fungsi aktivasi.
Sigmoid function to each specific component of the resulting vector inside. So, once you write down this weight matrix and these vectors as their own symbols, you can communicate the full transition of activations from one layer to the next in an extremely tight and neat little expression. And this makes the relevant code both a lot simpler and a lot faster, since many libraries optimize the heck out of matrix multiplication. Remember how earlier I said these neurons are simply things that hold numbers? Well, of course, the specific numbers that they hold depends on the image you feed in. So it's actually more accurate to think of each neuron as a function, one that takes in the outputs of all the neurons in the previous layer and spits out a number between 0 and 1. Really, the entire network is just a function, one that takes in 784 numbers as an input and spits out 10 numbers as an output.
Ceritanya ya.
It's an absurdly complicated function.
Terakhirnya ini kita sebut dengan Y. Jadi Y ini adalah fungsi dari proses pixel tadi, 784 pixel, sebagai hasil pemetaan dari layer pertama ke layer kedua sampai layer ketiga ya.
One that involves 13,000 parameters in the forms of these weights and biases that pick up on certain patterns, and which involves iterating many matrix vector products and the sigmoid squishification function. But it's just a function nonetheless. And in a way, it's kind of reassuring that it looks complicated. I mean, if it were any simpler, what hope would we have that it could take on the challenge of recognizing digits? And how does it take on that challenge? How does this network learn the appropriate
sekarang mau ditunjukkan bagaimana cara sistem ini belajar.
Weights and biases just by looking at data? Well, that's what I'll show in the next video. And I'll also dig a little more into what this particular network we're seeing is really doing. Now is the point I suppose I should say subscribe to stay notified about when that video or any new videos come out. But realistically, most of you don't actually receive notifications from YouTube, do you? Maybe more honestly, I should say subscribe so that the neural networks that underlie YouTube's recommendation algorithm are primed to believe that you want to see content from this channel get recommended to you. Anyway, stay posted for more. Thank you very much to everyone supporting these videos on Patreon. I've been a little slow to progress in the probability series this summer, but I'm jumping back into it after this project, so patrons, you can look out for updates there.
Okay.
To close things off here, I have
Oke ya, itu ceritanya. Tadi terakhir ada mahasiswa S3 yang melakukan perhitungan dengan menggunakan whiteboard ya. Berikutnya, saya minta Anda menulis, gini aja, Anda tulis ringkasan apa yang Anda pahami dari gambar tadi. Nanti kalau itu minggu depan kita ulas lagi dengan pendekatan yang berbeda. Anda tulis di chat, direct ke saya, ya, ringkasan dari apa yang Anda pahami dari materi tadi. Saya nggak akan nanya secara spesifik apa, Anda tulis apa yang Anda pahami. Ya, silakan waktunya 15 menit. Direct chat ke saya ya. Jangan ke everyone. Silakan. Minimal 1 paragraf lah ya. 3 kalimat atau 5 kalimat. Jangan 1 kalimat ya. Minimal 5 kalimat lah. Oke, silakan. Itu saya pertegas, saya jelaskan cara kerja neural network yang Anda pahami dari video tadi. Cara kerjanya. Dari gambar, ya, kemudian sampai mendapatkan mengidentifikasi gambarnya, labelnya ya. Waktunya 3 menit lagi ya. Oke, nggak ada pergerakan lagi kelihatannya. Sudah semua ya.
Pak, Abdullah Muafa katanya terputus, Pak.
Belum ada yang minta masuk lagi. Belum minta masuk.
Laptopnya mati, Pak.
Laptopnya restart katanya, Pak. Laptopnya.
Bawa ke rumah sakit aja. Oke. Udah saya catat semua nih.
Pak, maaf Pak, mau nanya tentang tugas Pak. Itu kan tadi Bapak bilangnya buat pemrograman kan Pak. Nah itu menggunakan software apa kitanya Pak?
Pakai apa? Yang lain ada yang bisa jawab?
Pakai prolog, Pak.
Iya, pakai prolog.
Prolog, Pak.
Iya.
Satu Jaya.
Ya, pakai prolog. Oke, ada lagi pertanyaan? Oke, cukup ya. Kalau nggak ada lagi, sampai sini dulu pertemuan kita siang hari ini. Terima kasih atas perhatian Anda. Jaga kesehatan selalu. Minggu depan kita di kelas aja. Setelah itu Anda UTS ya. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Terima kasih ya.
Terima kasih, Pak.
Terima kasih, Pak.
Terima kasih, Pak.